What if the most isolated country in the world is quietly building one of the largest missile production machines on the planet? That is the question military planners from Washington to Seoul are now asking after North Korean leader Kim Jong Un reportedly ordered a massive expansion of the country's missile industry, demanding a 2.5 times increase in ballistic and cruise missile production capacity over the next 5 years. This is not just another missile test. This is not just another military parade. If these reports are accurate, North Korea is moving beyond simply developing missiles and entering a new phase where it can mass produce them on an industrial scale. And that could change the balance of power across Northeast Asia and potentially far beyond. Recently, Kim Jong Un visited one of North Korea's major weapons manufacturing complexes. During the inspection, he praised the facility for exceeding production targets ahead of schedule and called for a dramatic increase in missile output. Images released by North Korean state media showed Kim inspecting various missile systems, including what analysts believe are members of the Hwasong-11 family, known internationally as the KN-23 and KN-24. These missiles have attracted significant attention because they are designed to be difficult to intercept. Unlike traditional ballistic missiles that follow predictable flight paths, many of North Korea's newer systems use lower trajectories and maneuver during flight, making them much more challenging for air defense systems to track and destroy. For years, North Korea focused on proving it could build advanced missiles.
Now, the focus appears to be shifting toward proving it can build them in large numbers, and that distinction matters. Military power is not only determined by how advanced a weapon is, it is also determined by how many of those weapons can be produced, how quickly they can be replaced, and whether production can continue during a prolonged conflict. This is where Kim Jong Un's latest directive becomes especially significant. A country with a few hundred missiles presents one kind of challenge. A country capable of producing thousands of missiles over time presents a completely different challenge. Modern missile defense systems, such as THAAD, Patriot PAC-3, and Aegis, are highly capable, but they are not unlimited. Every interceptor missile costs money. Every interceptor launcher has finite ammunition. Every defense network can become overwhelmed if enough incoming targets arrive at the same time. Military analysts often refer to this as the saturation problem. Imagine trying to stop 10 incoming missiles. Now, imagine trying to stop 100. Then imagine trying to stop hundreds more while replacement missiles continue rolling out of factories. That is the scenario many defense planners are increasingly worried about. According to reports, Kim described expanding missile production as a core national priority, citing dramatically increased military demand. That statement alone suggests major changes may be underway inside the Korean People's Army. For decades, North Korea relied heavily on large conventional ground forces, artillery units, and sheer manpower. But modern warfare is evolving. Recent conflicts have demonstrated the growing importance of precision-guided weapons, long-range strike systems, drones, and missile forces. North Korea appears determined to adapt. Instead of relying primarily on massive troop formations, Pyongyang may be shifting toward a military doctrine where missiles become the primary tool of warfare.
Such a strategy would allow North Korea to strike command centers, air bases, logistics hubs, radar installations, and missile defense batteries before large-scale ground operations even begin. In future crises, the opening phase of conflict might not involve tanks crossing borders. It could begin with waves of missiles crossing the sky. Another reason this development is attracting attention is timing. Kim's announcement came just days before an expected high-profile diplomatic engagement involving Chinese President Xi Jinping. The timing appears carefully chosen. By unveiling a major missile expansion plan before important diplomatic discussions, North Korea sends a clear message. It wants the world to understand that its military modernization efforts are continuing, regardless of diplomatic negotiations. For years, international sanctions were designed to pressure Pyongyang into limiting its nuclear and missile programs. But North Korea's leadership increasingly presents its strategic weapons programs as permanent and non-negotiable. That message has been reinforced repeatedly by senior officials, including Kim Jong Un, who has publicly stated that North Korea's nuclear status is not up for negotiation. If that position remains unchanged, then the current expansion may represent not a temporary surge, but a long-term transformation. The implications extend beyond the Korean peninsula. One of the most closely watched aspects of North Korea's growing military industry is its relationship with Russia. Since the start of the Ukraine conflict, reports have emerged suggesting growing military cooperation between Moscow and Pyongyang. Western officials and intelligence assessments have alleged that North Korean missiles and ammunition have found their way into Russian military operations. If North Korea dramatically increases production capacity, analysts believe it could potentially support larger transfers in the future, though the scale of any such cooperation remains difficult to verify independently. For Russia, additional missile inventories could provide operational advantages. For North Korea, military cooperation can bring economic benefits, valuable technical expertise, and opportunities to strengthen its defense industry despite international sanctions. This creates